So welcome to the shed, and this video I'm going to go away on the motorbike camping, and I'm going camping to test some equipment. I've had to buy myself a new chair, and this one's by Sunrise Land, and I'll put the links to all these are all from Amazon, and I'll put the links in the description below about where you can go if you're interested. There's not going to be an in-depth review on any of these. I'm just going to test it and tell you what I think about it. Also, I've had to buy a new tent because coming from a camper van, don't have the camper van anymore. So I bought a Naturehike Mongar 2. At the end of this video, I'll do a link to a bloody good video from a bloody good channel over in bloody Australia. Bloody biker bits, yeah, bloody grand. Or ripper, bloody ripper as they say. Right, anyway, I'll put a link at the end of this video to that bloody video, and then you can see it for yourself. So that's a Naturehike Mongar 2 tent. I'm going to test that. I've also had to purchase a sleep pad, and I've gone for the TREKOLOGY UL140 because it's quite wide, and more importantly, it's about 5 inches deep, and it packs down quite small. A lot of the reviews I was looking at online said it was trouble to get back in the bag after you unwrapped it for the first time. So they seem to have made a much bigger bag to put it in, which is grand. And to inflate that, even though it comes with an inbuilt foot pump, because I'm lazy, I bought a little USB inflator. So we'll try all this out, and I'll get back to you. So I'm going to get the bike loaded, shoot off up to the campsite, which is at Danby Wisk. It's only about 45 minutes away from me. But I didn't want to be too far away in case any of this kit fails or doesn't work out and I want to come home. So, short trip to Danby Wisk, get it all pitched up, test it overnight, come back tomorrow. That's basically it, really. So, I'll leave you this video now, and you'll join me on the road to Danby Wisk. Ta-da! So I'm here at the campsite and tents up. I've said that's the Mongar 2 from Naturehike. Went up quite easily. And my chair. Sunrise land apparently. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. I'm getting set up in here. Bear with me. I have my TREKOLOGY sleep pad down. Another Amazon purchase. A little inflatable pillow. I'll put all the makes in the description below. Haven't set up in here just yet, but I thought I'd give you a look. Right, that's where we're at the moment. Time for a brew, I think. The pub just down the road. Not sure if I'll go down. Certainly not going to eat out tonight. I've brought drinks with me. Besides, I want to have a sit and a cigar, and I've got some whiskey with me as well. So that's my tea sorted. Quesadillas, hot dogs and cheese. And for breakfast, I've mixed up some porridge oats. These are just your standard rolled porridge oats, but I add a bit of cinnamon, some sultanas, and a spoon of skimmed milk powder and a bit of sweetener. So I just have to add a bit of hot water to it and then boil it up, and that'll be fine. And it takes up no space in one of those Ziploc bags, and you can reuse the Ziploc bag. I haven't got my glasses on. I thought, my God, there's lots of flies in here. How do we get in? And it dawned on me, they're not in the tent. They're underneath the fly. Between the fly and the inner. Which is fine, they can be there, I don't care. There's a tent comes with a little mesh net you can hang your stuff in. I've put a light up in there as well for tonight. The inner of this tent is mainly mesh, but a very fine mesh. In fact, it's all mesh apart from the tub. And we have a bit of rain. Not forecast for this time of day. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, but I get to test it. And the vestibule is just big enough if I fold the legs on my chair to put my chair in out the rain. I've left the door open and there's no rain coming in, which is grand. And I'm giving the air mattress a try, which is very comfortable. And I've got all my kit in here with me as well, and there's still plenty of room. Alright, tea time. Now that I've fended off all the chickens, cook the quesadilla, but I think I've put the simmering on too low. Goes from too high to too low. Gun for you. Ollie, there, Bolly, the gun for you.
Why are the chickens then?
How will we get in the park?
Cheese and hot dog quesadillas and chickens are after foraging. just have to shoo them away. So that's what this weekend's about. Trying things. I haven't camped like this for years. So, I mean, can't remember last time I had my trangie out. When I used to go fell walking. Well, Mickey James. Got that some years ago. Karen and I were together. Like Charlotte came on one of the walks. We walked back. She was doing it as a sponsored walk to raise funds for schools or something. So we got dropped off at the White Horse just above Thirsk. And then we followed the footpath back to Osmotherley. It's a nice walk up. We got caught in the rain at one point. But it was a steady way walk because you're on the ridge most of the way, so it's flat-ish. Chicken's coming back. Interested in my bike for some reason. It's going to be a pain to clean this pan. Unless I didn't have any lunch, I'm a bit hungry. Oh, that's toasting now. Got my bit of sausage falling out. Ooh, cheesy sausage. Never thought I'd enjoy the taste of cheesy sausage. But there's definitely something to be said for it. I'll give it a go. I think I'm gonna call that done because I'm hungry and it's steaming. I'll take that off before I make another one. Possibly. There you go. No, go away. Get away. Go. Go on. Get away before you burn yourself. Go on. Go on. Go away. Climbing at my stove. Go on. Oh, here. Here. No. You're gonna burn yourself. Go away. Go on, chickens. Go on. Come on. Come on, I don't want to have to be chasing you to put you out. Well, I discovered one mistake I've made on this camping trip. I thought I brought more coffee than I had. I only brought 3 packets. Could have sworn I put some more in, but I cannot find them anywhere. Never mind. The choice is, do I have another one now and don't have a coffee in the morning? Oh no. What do I have to do with the rest of that? I've probably left them on the kitchen table or something daft like that. No, there's my second quesadilla and the kettle's on. Made my mind up to use my last coffee sachet because I can get a coffee in the washing up area. They've got tea and coffee making facilities. So if I'm desperate for coffee in the morning, I can nip in there and buy a coffee. Oh, it's hot. There we go. A cheese and hot dog quesadilla. I've seen me making these again. I know what you're thinking, why is he boiling the kettle for porridge when he could just pour cold water on it and put it on the top? I don't know. Maybe it's because I make it this way at home. But I find it easier to pour hot water on the porridge. Get far fewer lumps. One for sorrow, two for joy, three for girl, four for boy. 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. Forget the rest. Mainly because I think that's the limit of the Magpie song. Magpies in the TV series, you know, a kids show. Alright, 7 for a secret never to be told. TV, the 70s, what that secret was. I put a comment on an old video from Wiltshire Man, Sandy Wiltshire Man. Great channel. It's a very easygoing channel to watch, and informative, and entertaining. Anyhow, I was watching an old video where he was deciding which bike to take when he went and did the passes in Cumbria, which is on my to-do list. It was just thrown up as a video to watch. I didn't realise it was so long ago. I thought he was going to do he was talking about a new adventure. But one I'd already seen. I'd already seen the video of his passes in Cumbria, which made me think, yeah, I've driven all those passes, some of them many times, but I've never done them on a motorcycle. Time to do it. I thought, it's a nice weekend out. Ride up the lakes, have a night in the lakes, ride the passes, have another night, and then come home. Anyway, I just made a comment on this video saying it was on my to-do list, and that I was thinking of doing the Way of the Roses, because I'd recently watched his Way of the Roses video where he cycled across the country on a little folding push bike with a friend of his. And while I was watching that, I realised that most of it, the majority of that route, seems to be on small back roads. I could do that on the motorbike, just avoid the odd bit of cycleway, basically near the three main towns, Morecambe, Bridlington and Round York. But you can avoid them and stay pretty close to them on the motorbike. So I've planned a route, and I've started it at Saltburn, at Ship Inn car park in Saltburn, just for a place to start it. And it goes down the northeast, because I want to go down the northeast coast, take the coast road down to Bridlington. So plotted down to Bridlington on the coast road, across the country on the Way of the Roses cycleway, and then come back via the Dales. And I'm going to make a change to the route, because it dawned on me the other day while I was looking at the map that I'm very close to Buttertubs Pass, but I've gone left instead of right. If I went right when I was planning my route at one point, it'd take me through Buttertubs Pass, but I carried on left. So I think I'm going to swing down through Buttertubs and Hawes. I can join the route I was planning later on towards Richmond, not a problem whatsoever. So yeah, so I need to change that route when I get back, so I can do Buttertubs Pass. Another pass knocked off the list. So anyway, getting back to the point, I made this comment on Sandy thing. He's just replied. It was nice of it. So looking good. Right, I'm going to knock this on the head because I've only got about 15 minutes of card space left. That Insta360 filled, it's a 128 gig card in that, and it fills it up in no time. I might get some more, but now I'm torn. Do I just get a bigger card, keep all the footage on one, or do I get, for the cost of a 256
gig card, I can get 228 gig cards. Then I'm splitting the footage across them. So the chance of losing all your footage through a corrupted card is less. That might be the way. You've got the inconvenience of having to change cards, but hardly an inconvenience to whip the battery cover off and change the card. I think I might do that.
Well, welcome back, and this is after the camp trip. So, what did I discover? First things first, the tent. The Naturehike Mongar 2. What did I think of the tent? I loved it. It was easy to put up. It comes with its own footprint. So you peg out the footprint, put the poles together. That's one unit. They're aluminium poles. They all spring out, and you end up with a large, we'll call it a H section. It just pops into the eyelets on each of the corners, and it stands up, and it's got a crossbar on it. Once that's up, you can put the inner tent up, and that just clips on. Again, it clips into each of the corners, and then the mesh just clips up onto the poles. And then it's easy to throw the fly over and get that clipped into the corners as well. If you don't peg the corners out, if you just use the clips, you can then pick the tent up and move it. So you can just put the footprint down, put the poles into it, put the fly on it, and then you can position your tent. You can pick it up and move it, and it'll all move together, and then peg it out once you get there. And then there's a guy line either side that pulls the tent into shape, and also one for each of the vestibules. It has two small vestibules, which is handy because it's got two doors. It's mainly mesh inside, as you'll have seen from the video, but I didn't find that a problem. It did rain while I was away for a couple of hours, but I didn't notice a problem. And I was laid on the sleeping pad, and we'll come to that in a minute, and it rained for a couple of hours, and the door was open, but I didn't get any rain in. So the tent I really liked. It packed away quite well as well, and it dried very quickly the next morning, because we'd had some rain overnight and it was wet in the morning. But as soon as the sun hit it, it dried up. I did release the fly and spin it round to face the sun to dry the side that had been in shade, so it dried quicker. So that was great. The inner was dry and folded up and put away, not a problem. I did notice when folding the footprint, when I took the footprint up, that was wet underneath. So that's handy that it comes in its own bag, because your inner tent, the base of your inner tent will be dry because it's sat on top of the footprint, and the footprint's going to be wet. But you can roll that, fold that up, put it in its own stuff sack, and it's away from the tent. And that was very easy to dry when I got back. I just pinned it out on the line, and it was dry in no time. Folded up and put away. So that's a tent. I like the tent. So I'm looking forward to using that. The other thing I was worried about was this, the sleep pad. And the reason I was concerned about it was because I've got a spinal condition. I find it difficult to get a good night's sleep. So I was a bit worried about this. I thought this might screw me for camping. It might not be possible. That's why I went for this pad, because it was nice and thick. When it started raining, I got out the rain and went in the tent, laid in the tent. And I fell asleep. And I had a good 2 hours kip on this, which I didn't expect. Which surprised me, because I wasn't in a lot of pain when I woke up, which again was great. The night I spent on this, lovely night. I only woke up once, about 2:30, and that's because I needed an old man visit to the toilet. Got back to bed, went straight to sleep again. It was great. It wasn't until the birds started chirping and singing in the early hours that it woke me up again. But again, rolled over, went back to sleep. Had a good night's sleep on this. I do like it. Didn't go down in the night. What I did find is when I inflated it, I didn't want to overinflate it. And then when I was laid on it, I thought it was a bit soft. And 2 or 3 pumps with the inbuilt pump just got it to, just inflated it. I didn't have to get the noisy air inflator out. So although you don't really need the inbuilt pump, it's nice for fine tuning. If you suddenly think it's a bit soft, you can give it a couple of pumps and put a bit more in. So I like this. So the tent was a success, and this is a success. I'm liking this a lot. For its early days, I've only used it once. And the tent. I'll get back to you with time if it fails. The little USB pump did what it says. It inflated it. It took no time to inflate that mattress. Great. The other thing was the chair. It's not as small as these ultralight chairs you get. However, this is the high back one. And it also stands, the seat height is a little higher as well than those little ultralight chairs. Which is what I wanted, because John from Northeast Bushcraft, John Dodsworth, he got given one of those little chairs to test, and I believe he takes it with him when he goes motorcycle camping. And I tried it. I sat in it, and I had trouble getting out of it because it was too low, and my knackered arthritic knees wouldn't let me get out. Not a problem with this. Do you mean that's just that little bit higher? I didn't have any issues. Again, I don't know how it's going to fare in the coming months and years, but so far, I like this, and it's comfortable. It was comfortable. It's a comfortable chair. It straps on the back of the bike, not an issue. It's a bit bigger, as you can see, than the little ultralight ones, but there's plenty of room in this bag, and I use it to put my camp shoes in. So there's extra space in this bag to store other stuff as well as the chair. So they're the bits of kit I went to test: the tent, the chair, and the mattress, and all of them have performed really well. I'm well chuffed. It was a dry run for packing. I've discovered I've still got plenty of space I can pack into. It wasn't breaking at the seams. There was spare space in my panniers, and that was with taking the little fire pit. But I never got a chance to use this, but I took it anyway. As well as I packed a fire blanket, and the reason I packed the fire blanket and some little pegs was I don't like scorching the ground on campsites. So if I was going to use that, this was going to get pegged out underneath it and catch any embers that fell from the fire pit. So that's it. My camp trip to Danby Wisp I thought was excellent. It all went really well. It was a lovely little family-run campsite. It's only small. It's a quiet site. And the soundtrack for my stay was either birdsong or children playing. Yeah, it was great. Lovely time there. Might use it again. So anyway, I hope that's been of some interest. So there you go. That's it. Done. I'm now ready to well, almost ready for my July trip. And my July trip, and there will be a video on that, is a circular loop from Saltburn down to Bridlington, and from Bridlington following the Way of the Roses cycleway. Now there's a few areas that you can't follow because they're actually cycle paths, but most of the route is on small roads. So we're going to go across the country towards Morecambe on the Way of the Roses cycleway. I'm not going to go into Morecambe because, well, I might when I get there, but I'm not planning to go into Morecambe. I'm going to veer off just before Morecambe and go up towards Kirby Stephen and then come back through the Dales. I've changed the route slightly. If some of you may have seen the route I published online in my maps, but I've changed it a bit because I want to take in Buttertubs Pass. So I'm going to vary off the route slightly through Buttertubs, loop, and then loop back round. So down Buttertubs to Hawes, probably a snack and a coffee at the creamery, and then back up to the route I was on. That's the plan. I do intend to camp at least one night, possibly two. Depends, because there's areas that are just off the route that I might go to, such as Malham Cove. I haven't been there for years. So depending on the weather, depending on how I feel, I might stop off, detour a little bit to go to a place like Malham Cove or anywhere else I just fancy going and having a look at. So that's the plan. That's happening in the start in early July, all being well. And now I've got my kit and I'm confident it works. So there you go. I'm going to sign off now. I've waffled long enough. Ta-ra.